All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We will go ahead and get started. We have a lot going on tonight, so a lot of good stuff, though, but we'll go ahead and get started to stay on schedule. First, I'll call to order this meeting. This is the City Council regular meeting for April the 15th, and the clerk will call the roll.
Mayor Brian Mock.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Jimmy First.
Here.
Councilmember John Mesa.
Here.
Councilmember Leslie Robson. Here. Councilmember Paul Stovall.
Here.
Councilmember Elmer Vythe.
Present.
All right, we have up next the Pledge of Allegiance. Who's going to lead us in the pledge this evening? Anybody, any volunteers? Come on. Somebody lead us in. Rich, somebody, all right, you can lead it. Come on, there you go. Read us in. Come on. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, sir, and I appreciate your enthusiasm. All right, we need to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the agenda as submitted. Any discussion? All in favor? And that is unanimous. All right, we're right down to announcements and presentations. And first up, as always, at our council meetings, we have Council Dog. And tonight we have Lifeline with us. And I believe this is, if I got it right, it's Juno, right? Okay, Junie. Okay, Junie.
Thank you for having us.
name.
I'm here with Hudson on behalf of Lifeline Animal Project, and down here is Junio. He is about a year and 3 months old, and he loves going out on our Dog for the Day programs, which you can basically take a dog out for our shelter, take him to a trail, to your home to chill on the couch, but seeing Junio, as you can tell, he's full of energy and just loves getting outside of the shelter. Our shelter currently has 496 dogs, a little better than last time, but still quite overcrowded. We recently had our Healthy Pets to Cab event, in which we gave over 2,000 vaccines and 500 microchips to pets and to dogs and cats in our community. And yeah, we're super excited to give Junio this chance to come outside of the shelter, and we have lots of adoption and foster options available. And if you're curious and bringing home a pup like Junio or one of the many other dogs in our shelter, we're just down the road at 3280 Chamblee Dunwoody Road. Thank you.
And I believe if I was reading yesterday, it sounds like the numbers have improved a little bit overnight, because I saw yesterday, I don't know how many folks know this, but our animal shelters used to be no-kill shelters. And during COVID, a lot changed, and unfortunately, some of these animals have to be put down on a regular basis. And it touched me yesterday because I was reading that there was about 30 animals at our DeKalb shelter and 30 animals at the Fulton shelter that were facing today as their last day. So it sounds like we've had a little bit of success overnight, but as soon as you get them out, you get more in, and it's just a constant battle. But I heard somebody from Chamblee 101 was going to take Junio home. Who was the lucky? Who was the lucky volunteer that's going to take Junio home tonight? I know somebody is. Come on now. And John Maximum keeps getting off the hook. I don't know. He plays with them every time, but he keeps. Have you talked to your wife yet? That don't sound like it went too well. But if you can give Junio or another pet at the shelter a home, we would certainly appreciate it. And I know they're loving animals and they enjoy getting out, and you can just tell the excitement of him being even out tonight and being over here. So we appreciate it. The shelters are right down the street, and hopefully somebody this week will come over and take Junio home. Thank you guys for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. All right, we have a presentation from the Georgia Pet Coalition. Is that right? All right. Come on up.
We're going to restart.
Give us one moment while we restart the computers.
While she's doing that, I'd like to mention that the official state dog of Georgia is the adoptable dog. That was passed the legislature in 2016.
Nice.
Everyone can own an official state dog.
My cats wouldn't be very happy.
Uh-oh.
Hi, good evening. My name is Peggy McCarthy. I'm a volunteer board member with the Georgia Pet Coalition, and we advocate for state and local policies for companion animal protection. And my purpose here today is twofold. First, to provide the Chamblee City Council with an update on an impending new state law, which is HB 331, and secondly, to propose a supplemental ordinance to strengthen HB 331 even further to prohibit pet sales at year-round flea markets in Chamblee. I always think it's important for lawmakers to understand the sources of problematic breeding because we do have responsible breeders out there. Sources of problematic breeding include inadvertent breeding, which are accidental litters. And in this case, we don't necessarily need laws. We need education and we need resources for people producing these inadvertent litters. And DeKalb County is doing exactly that with providing free spay-neuter. There's a May Spay-a-thon, May 2nd and 3rd for DeKalb residents, hoping to do close to 200 animals there. The type of breeding that we have focused on with the Georgia Pet Coalition at the state level is intentional, reckless breeding for profit, which includes backyard breeding and high-volume breeding known as dog mills, puppy mills, cat mills, rabbit mills. And with backyard breeding and puppy mills, this requires enactment of laws and accountability, such as licensing, inspections, fees, and penalties. Many people don't know, but in Georgia, pet dealer licensing is not required for breeding and selling 1 litter per 12-month period. However, this exemption is unenforceable because it is not tracked. Rampant cheating occurs as breeders claim every litter is their first of the year. And these are primarily the transient pet sellers that HB 331 is addressing, because these people use unregulated locations to evade laws. So the problems with transient pet sellers are numerous. They are unregulated by the Department of Ag and the USDA. The sales typically occur at unregulated outdoor locations, allowing illicit sellers to evade licensing and tax regulations. Because it's a side hustle for quick cash, these sellers prioritize profit over any animal welfare standards. Vet care is typically not provided. Puppies, kittens, and bunnies are frequently sick with serious diseases at the time of sale. Campylobacter, Giardia, worms, and sarcoptic mange are examples of zoonotic diseases that are common in backyard breeding that are, can be passed from these animals to humans. The age, breed, and size of the animals is often misrepresented. Selling in these locations relies on impulse buys, which often leads to later animal abandonment or surrender to your DeKalb shelter. The cost shift to local governments and nonprofits to manage unwanted pets is significant, with DeKalb County spending about $11 million in their budget for 2025. Here's some examples of unregulated transient locations. There are parking lots, sidewalks, roadsides, parks, and flea markets. This is an example of a parking lot seller with multiple litters. And this is Cobb County, but it illustrates this person has multiple litters for sale that are different breeds and breed mixes. Unlicensed, this is a misdemeanor by Department of Ag regulations. So we shouldn't be protecting breeders breaking the laws. This was an example, 2 puppies being sold at a Best Buy in Decatur on a hot summer day, no water, unleashed or unconfined. They were obviously sick, so a Good Samaritan bought them for $200, took them straight to the vet, and promptly spent $3,000 in emergency care for the treatment of coccidia, bloody diarrhea, and worms. This is another example in a Walmart shopping center in Decatur. Both sellers, there were 2 sellers, they were teenagers. They were under 18 years of age, and there was puppy vomit under the shopping cart. So the puppies, again, were sick. And I can't tell you how many pictures I have and situations I have. These are just, another favored location for transient sellers are flea markets. And at Easter time, rabbits are bought up on impulse, and then about 6 months later, when they enter puberty, their behavior changes, and then they are either abandoned outside or taken to a shelter. The Georgia House Rabbit Society says about 20 to 30% of their rabbits come from flea markets. So here we have Georgia HB 331, which was passed several weeks ago by the Georgia legislature. HB 331 prohibits the sale or barter of dogs, cats, and pet rabbits at a variety of outdoor unregulated locations, including in the highlighted yellow transient or seasonal flea markets, regardless of whether such activity is otherwise authorized by any person or entity. The reason this prohibition didn't include year-round flea markets is the Georgia Department of Ag has a licensed dealer at the Pendergrass Flea Market in Jackson County and was a bit reluctant to prohibit year-round flea markets. They suggested that local ordinances be passed to address the year-round, and we do have that already in 11 jurisdictions. The important thing to note about this bill, it does not require additional funding. What I am bringing to the Chamblee City Council is a proposed flea market ordinance to supplement and strengthen HB 331. And this would be, it shall be unlawful for any person to engage in the transfer of any dog, cat, or domestic rabbit at any flea market, not just seasonal, regardless of whether such activity is either authorized by any person or entity. So it doesn't matter whether you're licensed or not, can't be selling these animals at these flea markets. We already have 11 local jurisdictions doing this, and I'll show you that in a moment. HB 331 does have some exemptions. Animal shelters and rescues are exempt. Transactions that are part of an event or show sanctioned by a national breed club or association, 4-H programs or similar agricultural exhibitions, and also prearranged transfers between a seller and a purchaser that take place during daylight hours at a sheriff or police station. These are known as safe trading spaces. And some police departments are actually designated, their parking lots have designated spots as such. Not all, but there's plenty of them in Georgia. HB 331 does not apply to a person giving away an animal. You don't want to be punitive to someone who's had an accidental litter and the local shelter is too full to take them. We want that person to be able to give away an animal if they can't take it to the shelter. And also, sales that take place at a seller's residence or inside a business, including a veterinarian's office, those are exempt. The intent here is not to impact responsible breeders who follow good practices. Why this law is needed? First of all, it's an easy tool for law enforcement. There's no need to check for licensing, no additional funding required. These sellers simply can't be in these locations regardless. It protects consumers from buying sick, genetically defective, or misrepresented animals. It protects breeders who follow responsible practices. It reduces the economic burden on taxpayers and nonprofits for animal control services and overcrowded shelters. It reduces, this is an important one, it reduces opportunities for breeders who cater to gang members. And there is a subset that do this by anonymously supplying dogs for criminal activities such as dog fighting and illegal drug trafficking. And on a state level, the state law perspective, it prevents illicit sellers from simply crossing jurisdictional lines to evade local laws. So here we have our 5 county precedents. These have language that is nearly identical to HB 331, but they prohibit pet sales at all flea markets, not just seasonal. So we have DeKalb, Fulton, Hall, Forsyth, and Athens-Clarke. No flea market sales. And these are the Georgia city precedents so far that prohibit pet sales at all flea markets, as well as the HB 331 language. And that is Brookhaven, Dunwoody, Gainesville, Johns Creek, Roswell, and Royston. So thank you for allowing me to provide these comments.
Thank you for being with us this evening and educating us on this topic. Very fitting following the Lifeline presentation too. Questions or comments from council?
Yes, so if this House Bill 331 gets signed by the governor, then the only ask for this group would be that small revision, or that small extension. But if it doesn't, then I guess you had some other language, or would you'd like us to consider?
Yes, so I think it would be up to your city attorney. I don't know whether you would want to take the language of HB 331 and simply strike seasonal out of that language so it applies to all flea markets. You could do it that way, or you could just refer in code to the state law and then have a separate simple ordinance banning all flea markets. So I would need the city attorney's advice on, because this law just passed a few weeks ago, so I don't know the best legal.
Oh, no, I meant if the governor doesn't sign it,
Oh.
and it doesn't become law, then if he does, it's easy, because it's state
Well,
law then.
if he doesn't sign it, it still becomes law after 40
I mean,
days.
veto it, yeah.
If he vetoes it, and I highly doubt that would be the case, but that
Okay.
could happen. Yes, then we would just continue to pursue local ordinances and try again.
That's what I was looking for you to say. Thank
But
you.
it,
Yeah, I just want to
it
make sure we got
passed
that.
Yeah, it passed the Senate like 50-something to 1. It passed the House 161 to 13. I highly doubt the governor would veto this. So
Thank you.
I'm optimistic.
Thank you for being with us. We appreciate it. All right. This week is National Telecommunications Public Safety Telecommunicators Week, and we are fortunate to have with us tonight. As we always say, a city is only as good as its staff, and we have some of the best. We have some of the best team members here with us, and these are the folks that everybody contributes, but these are the folks that when you call 911, they take that call and they make sure that the proper procedures are followed and that if you need help and assistance, it gets on the way quickly. So we want to take a moment to honor our telecommunications folks tonight. And Chief, I'll turn it over to you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As you just said, April 13th to April 19th is National Telecommunicators Week. With us, we have 5 of our staff: Taylor, Gia, Hannah, Gudrun, and Catherine, all here. Let me just give you a little bit about what they do for the audience as well. But our dispatchers, E911 operators, both receive and dispatch the calls for us, often understaffed, as it's a very hard position to fill at times, but for us have handled over 11,000 calls for service in 2024. In addition to that, we had a hurricane. We had 2 snow/ice storms this year. They're in the building 24/7, 365. There are no days off for inclement weather, disasters, or anything like that. There are no work from home days. It's always these ladies who are there manning the call, rarely seen but always heard. If you call 911, this is the first group that you will get before you get law enforcement. Again, I went over the short staffing. They're always there to answer the call. This is our chance to, recognize them during this week. We invite each of you to come by the Public Safety Building and pay a visit as we do a few things for them during the week. Gia, their supervisor, has done a very good job of arranging some little treats and goodies for our folks, but we wanted to make the presentation here in front of you all this evening in recognition of this week. So with that, if we can maybe could get a picture with the mayor and council.
Absolutely. So Gia, Taylor, Hannah, Goodrun, and Catherine, thank you all for what you do.
Everybody shift. Come on. Yeah. Okay. Can you come on this side, Councilwoman Robinson? Yeah, right here. Perfect. Okay. Great.
There's going to be some more getting up and down, I got a feeling. All right. Next up, we have a special recognition to honor Susie Goff. Today, we honor Susie. She is the founder and executive director of the Southeast Fiber Arts Alliance for her remarkable contributions to the arts landscape here in Chamblee. In recognition of her vision and impact, SEFA proudly named its exhibit space the Goff Gallery, a vibrant year-round and publicly accessible showcase to textile arts for our entire community. What began over 16 years ago as a simple idea has grown into a thriving creative hub we now know as SEFA. Thanks to Susie's leadership, passion, and unwavering dedication, SEFA has flourished, celebrating creativity, preserving fiber art traditions, and building a strong and connected community for artisans and educators across the region. And apparently, Susie is leaving us. Where are you at, Susie? Oh, there. Oh, no. Okay, well, oh my gosh. Okay, well, apparently Susie is leaving us. And while the community and the members will miss Susie in the day-to-day heart of SEFA, the board is deeply committed to carrying her legacy forward. And it's with deep gratitude and admiration that we cheer Susie Goff on as she steps into this next chapter and looks ahead with excitement for all that she still has to come. So thank you for being here. You want to come up and say something on her behalf? Yeah, come on. Oh, well, see, that's what we do to folks. Yeah, we always do that. Okay.
Well, I want to thank you for reading that and recognizing Susie. And we had a retirement or next chapter party for her this last Sunday and had a pretty good turnout. And we're really excited for her. She'll be around over the next year, kind of to help us through the transition and things. But then she and her husband are moving out to New Mexico.
Oh, nice.
where she's going to be able to build her own large studio and do everything she really hasn't been able to do the last 16 years, so.
Very nice.
But SIFA's alive and strong, and as you said, we're committed to continuing in her footsteps. So
Well, thank you for being here to represent, and please let her know how much we appreciate all that she has done.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Right. Now we are moving down to the 2025 Chamblee 101 graduation. Brittany?
Mayor and council, I am very excited to let you all know that we have 30 graduates that devoted 11 weeks to spend time with city staff. They were able to hear from different departments. We had various conversations about new businesses, as well as new developments, some city events, and some public art. They also participated in activities such as the Chamblee 101 City Stroll, where we walked the entertainment district from Old City Hall down to underneath Claremont Bridge. And they were also able to forge some new connections, not just with one another and with staff, but also with nonprofits in the area, as we did require a 2-hour volunteer requirement. So please join us in congratulating the 2025 class of Chamblee 101.
All right.
So, Mayor, as you said, it is about to be a lot of up and down. So we are about to go ahead and call them individually so they can receive their certificate and take a photo with you all. So when you are ready, if you want to.
All right. Come on down.
And once all names have been called, we will take a group photo. Do I need to move out the way?
No, you're fine. I'm just taking my time.
Okay. I know, right? I thought about that. The first name I will be calling is, yeah, we need a little graduation music. The first name we'll be calling is Brian Abrams. We do have a graduate that couldn't attend today. Her name is Lindsay Allworth-Timer, but we do want to give her a round of applause. Manuel Barcenas. Lisa Barker. Tanya Burnley. Daria Chrysikis. Chris Clark. Eileen Della Torhughes. And I'm gonna apologize before I even get to this one, but I am going to do my best. Rich De Augustinus. Did I do it? Did I do it? Yes. David Garcia. Amy Hall. Ryan Hall. Maria Holbrook. Oh, that way, Maria. Yeah. Joy Holland. Will Johnson. Penny Keys. And another graduate that couldn't join us today, Massimo Mariano. Yeah. Ivan McCauley. Vivian McCormick. Lucy Mija. David Melton. Guillermo Morales. Mike Nakayama. Vitelio Perez. And another graduate that couldn't be with us tonight is Lisa Pizzuto. Thank you so much. One of them I was going to stumble over. And one who had to step out is Rod Richardson. Keeney Slaughter. Tony Techie. Joyce Tootle. And last, but definitely not least, Mike Wolf. Now, if we can get a quick group photo. Smart.
Can you send me the videos so I can post on social media?
Yes, yes, because I knocked them all out here.
That's fine. Okay, everyone squeeze in as close as you can. Okay, Mayor and council, come in closer.
I just want to thank each and every one of you for participating, as well as all of our departments that worked really hard on all of their presentations. With that being said, this is the class of 2025. Now, we will be going to have a reception at Hopsticks, so we will definitely see you all there. And for the class, you all could either stay or head to Hopsticks.
That's like a no-brainer, guys. All right. See y'all shortly.
Save me some chicken.
Class dismissed.
Yeah, the chicken skewers, save me one.
Daria, you must stay late to see the principal.
All right. I think everybody has exited that's intending to exit. And we'll try to get through the rest of this relatively quickly. We have under old business this evening the approval of the minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes this evening.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the minutes for March 13th, 2025 meeting, along with the March 18th, 2025 meeting.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve both sets of minutes. Any discussion? All in favor? That is unanimous. Under staff action items, we have the Q1 2025 budget amendment.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the Q1 2025 budget amendment resolution as presented.
Second.
A motion and a second to adopt the Q1 2025 budget amendment resolution as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor? That is unanimous. We have the appointment of a hearing officer alternate.
Motion to appoint Tundi Akinyele as additional hearing officer for the city of Chamblee.
Second.
All right, a motion and a second to appoint Tunde Akinyele as the additional hearing officer for the city of Chamblee.
What are they overseeing? What department or court, I guess that would be, right? Or hearings?
It's a third-party hearing officer that hears the licensing appeals.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Any further discussion? All in favor? And that is unanimous. We have the DRB board appointment.
Motion to appoint Aileen De La Torre to the Design Review Board.
Second.
A motion and a second to appoint Eileen De La Torre to the Design Review Board. Any further discussion? All in favor? And that is unanimous. Real time. Eileen? And now I know why you stayed. And now you can go to Hopsticks. Enjoy.
Got a cold beverage waiting for you.
Enjoy. All right, we have the Real-Time Crime Center TV wall and workstations.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to authorize you to sign a contract with Activa for the purchase of the real-time crime center TV wall and workstation for a cost not to exceed $581,374.48.
Second.
A motion and a second to authorize the mayor to sign a contract with Activu for a purchase of a real-time crime center TV wall and workstations not to exceed the amount of $581,374.48. Any further discussion on that? All in favor? And that is unanimous. All right, we have the Public Works construction contract.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to issue notice of award to and negotiate contracts for the mayor's signature not to exceed a total amount of $1,548,677, no cents, for the following: Sunbelt Builders for $1,184,200, $1,184,227, CANA $139,135, EST for $39,500, and JC Lane for $185,815. Excuse me.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for the city to issue a notice of award and negotiate contracts for the mayor's signature not to exceed a total amount of $1,548,677 to the companies indicated below, which is Sunbelt Builders, CANA, EST, and JC Lane. Any further discussion? All in favor? And that is unanimous. And we have the LIHTC letter of support.
Motion to approve awarding Chambly's LIHTC letter of support to Mercy Housing Southeast for their application to rehabilitate Chambly senior residents.
Motion and a second to approve awarding Chambly's LIHTC letter of support to Mercy Housing for their rehabilitation of their senior residents. Any further discussion? All in favor? That is unanimous. And then we have the Claremont Road Project 3063, which is the Hilton Garden Inn Development of Community Impact.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve with the following conditions. Or actually, the following conditions: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but not 7. We'll deny number 7, which is the waiver from section 50-2C to not provide interparcel access from the adjacent parking lot in the form of a continuous driveway. And these will also include the following conditions as recommended by staff and the DRB. Development shall be constructed in substantial conformity with site plan and elevations received by the Planning and Development Department on January 28, 2025 and March 5th, 2025, with revisions required upon conditions of approval as reviewed and approved by the Planning and Development Director. Condition number 2, the development shall, in good faith, negotiate interparcel connectivity with the adjacent neighbor to the north and the east of the site prior to the application of the land disturbance permit. If no interparcel access is granted, the applicant shall identify the interparcel access points to the north and the east with the subject site in anticipation of future redevelopment. Number 3, the applicant shall limit the emissions of head-to-head parking and wheel bumpers to 16 parking spaces. The applicant shall install permeable pavers within these parking spaces. Number 4, the applicant shall provide a minimum of 6-foot wide sidewalk clear zone and a 4-foot landscape zone across the entire frontage of Claremont Road except to the north and south end where existing trees are to be preserved and the sidewalk is to be tied to the adjacent sidewalk. If any adjacent parcels are redeveloped, the owner shall provide access for construction easements to provide interparcel connection at the time of redevelopment of the adjacent parcel. Number 6, the applicant shall provide additional architectural details on the north, west, and east-facing facades to provide more variation in materials that are consistent with a proposed material palette. Number 7, the applicant shall provide additional access to the underground detention system for future inspection and maintenance. Number 8, public art shall be reviewed and approved by the Public Art Commission. And last, number 9, the applicant shall work with the Planning and Development Department and the Georgia Department of Transportation to identify and implement additional traffic mitigation devices that would prevent left in and left out turning from the entrance and exit of the property on Claremont Road. And that is all.
Second.
Okay, and in regards to the Hilton Garden and DCI, this is a motion to approve in part and deny in part with conditions as stated by Councilmember Mesa. Any further discussion on that item?
I just want to mention that the safety on Claremont Road is the utmost importance to us. So, John, if you could make sure to keep us abreast of the GDOT considerations as they come down the pipeline on the ingress and egress, that'd be fantastic.
Very
Yeah,
good.
my additional thoughts on that is that a lot of those pork chops, as I think they were calling them in some of the documents, you know, they're kind of lame. They're only a few inches high. They're tapered. You can just drive right over. And I've seen some, which I don't know if they're going to allow them, but they're very substantial. You'll bottom out your car trying to turn left over them. You know, I want them to be influential. I'll also say there's a gore. I guess that's towards 85. That's currently just a painted gore. And I don't know if anything, again, more substantial could be put on there because it's really easy to just drive over paint. And I'd rather, I don't know what it could be. Whatever GDOT will allow, do the most they will allow.
All right, anything else? I always recommend looking at the Baby Publix over on Johnson Ferry, their parking lot, the way it was designed. The T-bone and all of that is very high and very difficult to navigate, so it's always a good example. Any further discussion? All in favor? And that is unanimous. All right, that takes us down to public comments. The mayor is the presiding officer. All remarks shall be addressed to the city council as a body and not to individual members. Anyone wishing to speak shall come to the microphone, give their name and address to the city clerk, limit remarks to 3 minutes unless further time is granted by council, and not speak a second time until everyone wishing to speak has spoken once. No one can speak more than twice. Please do not speak unless you have the microphone and have been recognized. And with that, I'll open it up to public comment. Anyone wishing to address council this evening? Anybody?
Kevin Bacon, Buford Highway.
All right.
Good evening, Mayor. I know, I'm not supposed to be talking, you know, because talking, it's not going to, you know, it might not get anything done. Much like the government, a lot of talk, little action. So, I just want to first off express my gratitude for the sidewalk project on Buford Highway. Thank you for properly allocating SPLOST money for the improvement of our community. Although I've lived on the corridor for over 20 years, I knew in the past, and I knew better than to do anything that's unbecoming of who society identified me as. Uneducated, ignorant, black fool. I was hesitant to be anything but a stereotype. I was comfortable in my assigned role. When I was discontent, I sought relief in the most hedonistic ways available to me. Pleasure-seeking was all I cared for in life. I felt entitled, mad, and unheard. But alcohol was a friend I could always count on. And oddly enough, society was, for the most part, accepting of the role I played. I was in my place. It was and still is acceptable for those in the trenches to find their place, their comfort, and their role in being incorrigible and visible. What I'm trying to get to is men, okay? I don't know what it's like to be a woman, okay? I know women have hard life as well, okay? But men, in society complete suicide at a rate 5 times higher than women. They make up 92% of the inmate population and attend college at a rate that is, of course, lower than women. Not to say the women got it any easier. Everybody got it hard. But society has focused its attention on empowering women since the 1960s, and rightfully so. The results show, okay, the past election, 92% of women of a certain group, they voted for Kamala and the Democrat Party. That's because they benefit from the government. Women, certain people who are marginalized, particularly women, benefit from the government. Men do not benefit from the government, period. Okay?
We're out of time, Mr. Mayor.
Permission to exceed.
Mr. Mayor, can we extend his time by 1 minute?
Okay. Men, especially black men, do not benefit one bit from the government. We have to pull ourselves up from our bootstraps. And when we fail to do so, we go to jail, we turn to violence, turn to drugs, hurt others, destroy families, destroy communities. And the best the government has is, you'll figure it out. Okay, Mayor, I don't know, I'm not trying to solve anything. I'm just trying to put attention to the situation. A lot of young men are suffering these days, and it's showing in the stats, and people are dying, people are using drugs and overdosing. Not just men, women as well, but men really, it's difficult for men, especially marginalized men. Just wanted to point that out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
With 1 second left, that was impressive.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect time.
Perfect 1 minute.
All right, anyone else here tonight wishing to address council? Anybody? All right, seeing none, I believe we do have executive session this evening.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to hear a motion to enter into executive session to discuss real estate, potential litigation, and personnel matters.
Second.
A motion and a second to enter into executive session. All in favor? That is unanimous.
That'll get the gist of it.
And if I have any
You can
questions,
also
I'll
watch
ask
the
them.
video. You can also watch the video. not.
It's been a long
Okay,
day.
this is a purse. I thought this was a leather vest on Leslie's chair, and I was like, what is going on? She ride a motorcycle over here?
Satchel and sling.
A satchel, a satchel.
It says Regional Assembly.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to exit executive session.
Second.
Motion and a second to exit executive session. All in favor? Leslie,
Raise your hand.
raise your hand. That is unanimous.
I don't know what I'm agreeing to, but
Exit executive session.
We need a motion to end the meeting.
Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor? And that
Aye.
is unanimous.
There's a possibility Hop Sticks is still open.
Sorry, ruined your night.